Uh,
The median age for the first time marriage is 28 years old.
wow.
So that's as of today. In your opinion, what do you think is an optimal age to get married?
I'm gonna say probably about 25, and for
Oh,
two reasons.
for a
Huh?
man or a woman?
A woman.
Okay. What about the
Different from
man?
35. Because here's the thing, most women have probably reached first of all, I've had an opportunity to go to school, done some of the things that they want to do, and I think around 25 is when you really start thinking about when you want to settle down. Okay, when you want to have a monogamous relationship, start a family, that type of thing. And then also we got to take into consideration you've got about 10 or 15 years, you know, before now it's not really at the peak level in terms of having children.
Hmm.
So if your goal to get married, and my goal if I were younger would be to get married is to have children, to have a family. Okay. So you've got until maybe 35, 40 tops before now, it can become, difficult for you to have children, you
Right.
know. Also from a health perspective, could be detrimental.
Well, now they got these new things though, where
Yeah,
you
but
can, and I
but
think it's feeding into it where you can freeze your eggs. You don't have to have the children, you can put it off until, and I think that's a lot of, I think they're choosing careers over, they're not even wanting children. We're choosing careers over children.
okay.
That's
But here's the thing
common.
though, now we're looking at things like autism. The longer you wait to have children, the more chances, the better chances you have of having a child with autism and other birth defects. So this is something that we got to be aware of, that the
Or the
optimal,
mentality, Brian, that where they freeze the eggs and have
huh?
somebody else carry the baby. All
Have
the baby's
someone,
the host.
okay, okay.
I mean, it's getting out there. I've heard women say that I'm not having the baby. I'll freeze my eggs and I'll come back at it when I'm ready and my career is up and running, and I'll have somebody else to carry the baby for me.
So what are you going to be, 40, 50?
Right. That's a lot of energy. Children have a lot of energy.
Yeah. So you're going to be 40, 50 years old trying to take care of a toddler?
Yep.
That's not, nah, that's not going to work. I had a child when I was in my early 20s, and that was difficult for me then. I can only imagine what it would be like as a man over 50 years old trying to, you know, run around with a young child. That's not going to work.
Oh, and they grow up to be teenagers too. There's the lovely teenage stage.
And, and then is it fair to the child? Because now, you know, if you're doing this at 45, 50 years old, we only have so much time that we're going to be on this earth.
Right.
So is it fair to just give that child, 20 to 30 years and now, you're leaving this earth? I don't think that's really fair. And I think we need to look in terms of not just what's best for ourselves, you know, but what's best for everyone.
Right.
Um, then I mentioned to you earlier about what the optimal age is for a man, which I believe is around 35, because I don't
Mm.
think men really become who a man is, who he's supposed to be until he's around 35 years old.
Hmm.
Mentioned this before, there's almost like a light that goes on in your head when you turn 35. You start to become more responsible, more willing to settle down. You realize that you're reaching the halfway point of your life. Many of us have children by that time. So there's a lot that happens. And we have an opportunity to not only mature mentally, physically, but also get to the point where financially we're not a lot more stable as well. You
Right.
know, it's often difficult for a young man to become financially stable in his 20s. And a lot of times we're just becoming who we want to be as far as finances around 35, 40 years old.
Right. Right.